Hello, Uncle Code. Today, we are going to be talking about school systems being outdated. And I know you have a hidden stash of interesting statistics, charts, tables, graphs, and the likes. Is there anything that you can share with all of
Okay.
us in
True,
regards to school systems being outdated?
true. It is outdated, and internet made it outdated. Believe me, trust me. But there is a kind of also statistic, as you mentioned. Yes, it's really good that we always come up with an evidence. Let's look at this image. So look at this diagram. It's 2016 before COVID, and I think now is situation worse. But look at the percentage of the green is engaged, the gray is not engaged, the black is actively disengaged, right? Actively. But look at here, when you're in the grade, while in grade five, engagement is 74 percentage of students that are really engaged. Look at what is happening, what we do within these years that shrink to 30, 32 percentage in grade 11 or 12. It's really funny. And look at the disengagement. Not only engagement, actively disengagement also is increasing. It means that in grade 12, around 70 percentage are not engaged. This is well done, the school system. That's what I can say.
So, this image is basically telling us that the older a student gets, the more they don't care about studying.
Yes, as you can interpret here, something is happening in our mind. We get lesser engagement in our creativity, in our power of asking questions and fun. You're 8 years old, you love to touch the world and experience the world, but now what is happening in grade 12? Anxiety, stress, and many more things. Yes, true is like that. And that's why for this talk, before we dive into why a school is outdated, we invited a guest. She's education director at Kiddo Code. She's also a teacher, a mother, and has a great experience to come and engage with us and a little bit share experience about this topic.
Right, and I'm sure we're going to have a really, really exciting episode ahead. I know we're going to have an exciting episode ahead because this
Now,
entire
how you know
episode,
it?
I know, Uncle Code, I traveled from the future. We
Wow,
actually
really?
pre-recorded this entire episode and we're shooting the intro at a much later date.
Yes,
But
yes.
trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have an exciting, informative time ahead on this episode of Uncle Talk. So, school system is outdated, Uncle Code. That's the topic, right?
Yes, I think it looks like Windows 3.1. And imagine such a pain is if you want to install Windows 3. You remember Windows 3.1?
With all due honesty, I don't think I was even born when Windows 3.1 was out.
By that, you mean like how old I am. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm like a kind of fossil now. But I remember the point. Okay, how about the Windows 98?
Windows 98 sounds like a distant memory from my past life. Even that, I am not too familiar with, Uncle Code. I'm
Right.
slightly panicking inside, like, wow, I feel like you're just saying Windows and then plucking a random number.
So let's talk about Internet Explorer.
Yes,
Sorry,
the
Microsoft.
pain. The pain from Internet Explorer crashing and lagging, that I remember very clearly.
Okay, so I think being outdated means like Internet Explorer or somehow or something that yes. That's the point. Is this? I think the schools are outdated, but we're gonna have a kind of guest today. Oh, let me introduce the guest, Raj. Today's guest is Mojgan, Kiddo Code Education Manager. Hello, Mojgan. Hello.
Hello, hello, good afternoon. Okay, nice to meet you, Uncle Code and Raj.
Hi, Mochgan.
How
Hi,
are you?
good, thank you. I'm great.
So, how's going on life? You know, guys, again another MCO. So, what you guys are gonna do that now, Mojgan?
Actually, yeah, we got used to it because we have gone through it several times, and then now we are quite adapted to work from home. Even we are forced to. We are ready for everything. Actually, we can
Mochgan
come
is
to
a
office.
veteran. It's an MCO veteran.
Yeah,
it's
we
so
know.
funny. It's that this is also funny. Keep closing and opening a school. It looks like that you punch in the spring and you let it go. You punch and let it go. So eventually, guys, it's going to be broken. And now again, the schools are closed.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how one of the most vital components of your nation is just taken very lightly, right? Oh, it's up to my women fancy whenever I want to open and close things. It's no big deal. It's just the education of our future generation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
whatever. You know, it's no
no big
problem, man.
matter. Yeah, exactly. That's the point exactly. Seems doesn't matter. Seems doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, Raj, please to start. By the way, it's good. Mojgan give us a little bit introduction about herself and tasks that she does at Kidako, and then after that, Raj, same as always, go through questions and bring up those tough questions, and let's
Okay.
warm up ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much again for this opportunity. My name is Mojgan. As you know, I joined Keto Code in 2016, and it was a fantastic journey for me so far because I actually attended one of trial classes with Uncle Code for my son, and after that, I just got this offer to start with Keto Code. And then I have had a very nice and amazing journey so far. I started as a trainer because my background is from education background. I was English teacher. Then after that, gradually I just joined different department in Kido Code, and actually I think it's more. I've been there more than I've been working with Kido Code more than 4 years, and gradually I help with customer success. And after that, again, if I have the chance, parallelly, I have had the chance to be with students, parents, education all together. It's a combination of all things that I hope that we can just have had a successful journey for KidoCode as well.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
sharing, Mojgan.
No problem.
Uncle Code, I have to say that's a
Yes.
really interesting story. From a client into a team member. That's amazing. I've never heard such a thing before.
There are a
Okay.
lot of things like that. Yes, yes, you're right. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
So for today's episode, for all the viewers at home, thank you once again for tuning in. What are we going to do today? We're going to have a bunch of questions talking about the school system being outdated, and we have a mix of questions from the internal team, from our students, from people online, from social media, and we're just going to go through them and discuss whether the school system is outdated and what we can do about it. All right. Without further ado, the first question: why do you think the school system is outdated, and what has changed over the years?
That's kind of
To set the scene, to set the stage. Why do you think the school system is outdated, Uncle Cole?
this is the topic of this session. Is not a question, Raj. This is cheating.
I'm just starting with a simple question, something light for you to get the neurons moving.
Well, I'm going to give something little, and then I like Mujgan also help us and share with us based on her experience, because yes, she's been a language teacher, and the system, the classic system now in the Kyoto Code. To me, the school became outdated because of the internet. Internet made the school outdated. You know what? If you look at any business entity, let's think a little bit in terms of the business wise. Okay, any business entity sells something, so you must have a product, a commodity to offer to people, and people come in and buy it, and then you get the money. So that's a very important thing. You must have a customer success, customer care. You must be able to do a fantastic sales pitch. It should be a demand. Then you're going to be successful to your business. There's no doubt about this. It's very simple. It's very basic in any business. Then if you're back to the time of Industrial Revolution in 18th century, and then we understand that suddenly machines come to the game, and we have a lot of manufacturers with a lot of labor workers. So we need system that produce that level work as soon as possible in a very safe and standardized way. Definitely a school getting more important in those times, because we need a community, we need a business entity that its job is selling you fact. Selling you fact. Fact is important because I'm living in 18th century and I want to know what is the speed of light. I want to learn mathematics. I want to know more geology or biology or all these kind of things. So I have to find a place to purchase the facts. So sort of fact selling was basic job of the schools. Of course, raising humankind, training them, and doing a lot of these kind of activities. But basically, when I want to look at it as a kind of products, they were offering courses, facts, and information. And now after the internet, the same fact that they're selling for 200 years is available over the internet free of charge. So business-wise, not only outdated, this is a disruption. So what is the school actually a competitor is YouTube, is Google, is the internet. Is this free of charge access to internet And then Google doesn't care you're 4 years old or 10 years old, you're 15 years old, you have PhD, you have bachelor, whatever. Oh, you are 8 years old. I don't let you know to what is the speed after lunch. You have to go to the class and then reach to age 12 and 30.
No,
No,
you
no,
can't be
nothing like that.
smart.
Nothing. No, it's not like that at all. It's based on this decentralization, free access. This is what made the school outdated. It looks like a school. Imagine now we don't use animal to travel, right? We use a car and vehicle. And imagine still your business is to sell a shoe horse and then provide services for people that they want to go everywhere with the horse and animal. That they're not going to work. To me, this change rapidly. So this economically, what a school was selling is available free of charge. So we know what's going to happen for that business unless a school start to move to new direction. Otherwise, the school will go to the same place BlackBerry went, Nokia went. So this is how I look at. So the reason is information. Internet made it outdated.
Right. Mojgan, what do you think about that?
Actually, following what Uncle Code's comments, I also agree because we all know that the public education system currently has been around for more than 150 years, and then the basics schooling models remain the same, even though the curricula have developed, but the essence has stayed the same. Means the overall education system has changed in many regards, but however, the way we are taught has not seen a drastic change. And as you can see, for example, the time, the age, as Uncle Code mentioned, there are two limitations that just it's a kind of boundary or it's a kind of obstacle for students that they want to go and think beyond the box. Mm-hmm. This is what I think.
Right. So we have discussed about the rise and the advent of platforms like YouTube and Coursera and all these other online learning platforms, right? And you're right, Uncle Code, I agree. You know, if somebody is giving you free stuff, especially in Malaysia, right? If somebody is giving you free stuff, who's going to go for the paid option? And the one thing that's powering the school system right now is this deep-rooted Asian mentality of, oh, I have to study, I have to get a degree, and then I have to work.
Yeah, I want to talk about degree. You're right.
Right, you know, and I think we'll get to that later on. But so let's talk about being competitive and standing out, right? If we have two sides, one is this online education platforms, and the other being the education system. What can this traditional education system do in order to remain relevant? What are the changes that you guys would like to see?
Okay, good questions. Mojgan, think about it. He's saying that, okay, well, let's say we agree on this is outdated. So what is the first maybe things come to your mind to suggest them?
Actually, based on my experience with my own son, I mean that it was a very good procedure going.
I want to say something. It's Raj. You have to know. We have to meet and do interview with her son. He's one of the really good students at Kilocode. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Now he's 15 years old, right? 15.
Yeah,
okay. He's a gamer. He's a game developer. He has a website. It's really interesting. It's one sample of Generation Z that we need. That before age 18 they can set up a business. They understand the dimension of the new economy. We have to really talk to him.
As long as he doesn't talk about Windows 3.0 and 98, I'm fine.
No, he's younger than you. Don't worry. So you can tell him. Do you remember this? Much can continue.
Okay, as you know, the current education and schooling model is all related to a teacher at front of this. In front of the class, and children seated is an optimal way to learn for some students. But how about the other students that are struggling in the same environment? Students are crammed into a classroom with, for example, time limitation, and taught in a classroom in a standardized way. But I think creativity is a bit restricted, and actually, this way, the school system is mainly focused on creating followers.
Listen, obey, Han.
Mm.
Yes.
I think this is a good thing. You mentioned Mojgan. I think followers are. I will go back soon. Okay, followers are important. If you're living in a kind of um, how can I say, a kind of system, a kind of model that is very very hierarchical and required, people follow the rules or obey. You need a team that their mindset doesn't need diversity. I'm not talking about a good and bad, but imagine you need a group of people, thousands of people, or 27 million of people, or 30 million of nation, that they follow and listen carefully, and they just very very they do things which is very predictable. So definitely you start to establish a kind of education system that train kids with following, I mean obeying.
Yes.
You get me, Raj. This is something. It's not only about. Is maybe there is tendency in some society that they like such a kind of system. If
Yeah.
I'm a
Just,
parent, go
just,
talk
just
about.
to just to clarify, we're talking about zombies now, right? Nope. Oh, we're talking about students. Okay, right. Okay, just clarifying. Sorry, please continue. Please
you,
continue.
you exactly. You want to train zombies, or you want to create just some heroes that they're going to change the world? Because because definitely I don't think if everybody's supposed to follow everyone else, you're never going to have a kind of another Einstein. What made the Einstein unique that he said that whatever before me is wrong. And what is unique about Isaac Newton? Whatever before me is wrong. Whatever is unique on any innovative or a person that make a little change or big change is whatever they have done before me is wrong. This capability to jump out, is something important. So, and to
Yeah.
my answer for that question quickly is, but I have a question, Mujgan.
Yes.
So you have a child. You know how easy is losing control of your authority for teenagers. And I know that a school has been a big supportive for parents to control their children. If you want to come up with a solution to less be authoritative, then how are you going to manage this part? Because teen crisis and teenager crisis I think this is a kind of concern. If any model that we want to pop up, or any model we want to propose, instead of the current school system, this current school system, whatever it is, I know it's old, but it's working. At least it's tested. You know what? So if you want to tell the society there's a new model, it's a little bit also scary, because change, it's a big change, in some are very sensitive. And you point something very important for parents and everybody following. Follow me. Well, what do you think about this?
Actually, I think I was really lucky being introduced to Keto Code, because I knew and I understood my son's ability and interest, and this is very important. Then I could channel that interest with the help of Keto Code, you and the other team members, that my son could go through the right path. When he likes it, he doesn't want to just go against the stream. That's why I didn't have that much struggle for him to keep it on the right track, because he liked whatever he's doing right now, and then he has had a good progress in that journey. That's why it's to me it was really very successful. I didn't have that much struggle. I think if the parents be change their mindset, if they just be a bit open minded, and then just be not stand again in front of the children, be next to them and guide them, find their interest. This is the best option for them to go through this successful journey.
Right. I like
Okay.
that. Talking about parents' mindset, I think in our Asian culture, that's something which is really at the forefront when it comes to the education system, right? So let's talk about a few things when it comes to changing parents' mindsets. When I was a small boy, it didn't matter what extracurricular activities I joined, whether I was the top scorer in my football team, whether I won a public speaking competition at the state level. None of that matters. The only thing that my parents and my friends' parents and my relatives talk about is how much did you score for your exam. You can be top grade in every other aspect, but if you don't score well in your exams, you're a failure to society, right?
Feel guilty feeling.
So what do you guys think about this whole way we are assessing students? Are exams even a necessity? And if yes, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, when you say about that remind me a lot of pain from myself.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a feeling. It really, that's the point. I am a good kid, and I couldn't get a good mark. An entire of my life for a few weeks is sad. It's really
Oh.
unfair. This has been with me a lot. When I was in high school, it was very important for me. And when I'm not, not I have done. There's something very important here. I've done an effort. I have done the effort, but because the school system, parents, evaluation model is not based on the effort, it's based on the outcome. So when I don't get it, it looks like I'm a failure. And nobody come and give me this comfort that
Mm.
who cares? You did it great. You really worked 3 months on it, and this I'm talking now. I remember all those pains, and how many years we live with these pains, and then we say why society has anxiety.
Yeah, very true, very true.
I forgot your question, Raj. I'm not angry.
So it's okay, it's fine, Uncle Code. If you want some tissue paper, I'll pass some to you after this. But the question here is: do we need exams? Do we still need assessments? And if yes, what can we do to make it more effective? Instead of traumatizing kids until they start off a successful education company and then it all comes out during one of the talk show recordings. What can we do to prevent that?
What's gone? You go for this.
I am totally against exams, but I do believe in evaluation. But if the education system wants to follow the traditional way, that means you score best, you are the best, and then you have the chance to go to, for example, top universities, or if the workplaces also wants to go and evaluate the students based on their marks. Yeah, we still need this kind of scoring system, but based on I mean that I do believe in evaluation. For example, if a student is not very good, has the basics of mathematic knowledge, he or she, the students can implement it inside whatever he's doing or she's doing, then it's acceptable. Means the coach, the instructor can evaluate that student based on whatever has learned in a practical or the lifestyle, not just a paper, pen, exams, or invigilator to mark the exams, and then maybe 1 month before the exams, that student studies very hard and then just score a star or something like that. And after that, for example, because of the pressure of the parents or the society or peers, but after that he or she doesn't remember any of those concepts in the real life. But evaluation, yeah. For example, if you go through a practical things, someone is there to just evaluate you. This is the bench. This is the checkpoint. You are okay for this step. You can go step forward to another step. That is the necessary, because you internally also evaluate yourself. You know how good you are at something, uh, how many more levels and steps you need to improve your skills and your knowledge.
I do have a question, Mojgan.
Yes.
You know what? That I got a point. It's really interesting that uh, doing such a kind of evaluation, how can be done fast? Because exam paper, what is good about an exam in the model that we know, like a multi-choice, especially multi-choice, is super scalable, it's fast, and then put it and then done. So you don't have concern about scalability. If you want to do such a kind of creative evaluation that you're talking about, how we're going to make it scalable? Because a lot of students around the world, and it's getting more and more. 2.5 billion workers working in the world, and we are going to maintain this. How this is going to be scalable?
Actually, what I was thinking, and because of that thought, I share this with you. For example, if a student is interested in particular skills, like for example, game development, then definitely for being a good game developer, that student needs to have a good knowledge of physics and mathematics. Besides, if he wants to go, for example, be a full stack game developer, I mean the design and all, then I think we can have some schools that instead of going different types of mathematics, I mean that is like theoretical mathematics, they implement the concept of that physics and math inside the projects.
Okay.
And then this is my ideal. Then I was always thinking that, and then it was as I think it was successful for my son. Really, it helped because some students are, and they are more into learning theory, but some they want to implement the theory inside the practical activities.
That's an interesting thing. You know what? It's a really cool thing. Imagine such a beautiful school that that you just exactly you read that part of the mathematics that you needed. You read that much biology that you needed. You read that much chemistry that you needed. And it's important. You do the base, but no more than the base. I believe that we are eating too much chemistry, biology, physics, and math, and doesn't matter what we're going to do because it's supposed to be a standard. A standard doesn't think about what you're going to do with them. But Raj, to your question, I believe in evaluation. Evaluation important. We need tests. But the point is this: test is a tools. You know what is wrong? When test is the goal, when from in anything, in anything, culture, social science, psychology, engineering, religious, when tools move to the goal, when the main things, the mainstreams by mistakes turn to a tool, then bad things will happen. For example, when exam paper is turning itself to something very vital and holy and something very important, we forget that this is just a tool. Why not come up with the new tools? Yes, do the test. Testing matters because we have to test people. I want to hire a person, I have to test him. I need some sort of the scores. For example, if you're a YouTuber, you have a scores, your followers, your likes, but the numbers change, the concept change, the way we can score people should be updated. And if not, again, the world change. Now people, they use car to go everywhere, but we want to use animal to go everywhere. The meaning of the transportation is still is there. So we need to have examination, we need to test people, but a little bit of more creativity, more options, more approaches, especially using technology, because technology is the security to make things scalable. If I can, even look at the normal classic multi MCQ, okay, multi-choice questions. If you build the kind of applications that the students can have leaderboard, scoreboard, fun, and everybody get a little bit different questions. For example, using a little bit machine learning and to give you questions relevant to your skills. For example, if I have weakness in geometry, and geometry is important for me, if this app can detect and give difficult or different kind of questions when I'm in geometry, then you, Raj, let's say you're very good in geometry, you're geek in the geometry.
Yes, I am, 100%.
I'm pretty sure about that. We're going to have a test after this together. Just hold on a moment.
As long as it's not about Windows 93 and Windows 3.0, I'm good at it.
We do have this application, but to run it, you need Windows 3.1. Point is this, you got my point. We can come up with a lot of technological way to make it scalable and cheap and available for the whole world. So test so I don't have any issue with test. Personally, I have the issue with why we stick to one approach, same approach that Isaac Newton was doing when he was in Oxford.
I'm going to copy paste this whole video link and send it to my parents right now, just to give a bit more illumination. Yeah,
Really?
I completely agree with the both of you. There needs to be a retake in the way the assessments are done, right? Oh, right, Uncle Code, you want to show your? Oh, there we go. Very nice.
30 minutes passed. Okay.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm going to rotate my sun down. One moment. Okay, yeah, it's done. right? And you know, it's a very interesting concept that you mentioned about gamifying the test system, right? I
Yeah,
feel that I feel
indeed.
that a lot of Asian parents, not all parents, I think there's a big shift coming, right? I think if we created a separate system where parents can compare their children's performance on these leaderboards of seeing who is performing better in this test, there might be a market for that in the Asian culture as well. But anyways, talking about assessments and tests and how we can sort of revitalize it and have a different approach to it. And then you talked a lot about technology and gamification. So, what kind of technology innovations do you think will make way for the future of education? We talked about gamifying the systems, right? And we'll talk about degrees after this. But to wrap up this whole section, besides gamifying tests and examinations,
Mhm.
what other innovations do you think will pave the way for the future of education?
Mojgan, you can give us some suggestion. You talk about a school that teach physics and math more if you want to be a game developer.
Actually, if I got the question correctly, I mean that, for example, we can combine some of the digital tools that nowadays all of us are familiar with, like using AI, augmented reality, and then virtual reality, or even drones, to help us to go through more fascinating experience for students, to learn all the do you know stems means all these science, math. Then with the combination of these technologies, it will have a fantastic result.
Interesting, interesting. And by the way, Raj, I see there are a few questions coming up. Maybe after this talk, we can go through those questions as well.
Sure, definitely.
I see in the chat area. Mojgan, I don't know. I want to
Yes.
add something to what you said. Augmented reality, these are really interesting stuff, and it's coming. You know what they say, by
Yes.
5 years later, 70% of a mobile holder devices in the world, they have the capability to run and execute VR and AR. That's a very important thing. That means this is the trend of the business. E-commerce should eat VR, AR. There's no doubt about it. And many, many more apps. So it's a very important trend. Looks like, imagine you have an application doesn't use photos and images and audios. It's so outdated, huh? It just something came to my mind, Raj. You know what is so easy now, because now we're in a kind of technological area that changes really fast. Change is the mainstream. You understand? Change is the trend. Change
Yep.
itself, and how you can stay on your 200 years approaches. There's no any way. We need dynamic systems that they are ready. That every 5 days they change themselves A to Z, and it still stays sustainable. And there are now many kind of interesting area, change engineering. It's important. That means companies are hiring people that are expert at how we can apply change in the system without losing the integrity. So imagine if future schools are like software companies. They keep changing, new things coming, updates coming, information coming. You know how many things recently discovered in physics, for example. We just got a picture of the black hole. And the book of the physics we're teaching in today at school, even international school, you parents pay a lot, it still is the same book that designed before discovery of the black hole. So how that can work? It doesn't work. Change it's really important. And the second thing about the tools, Raj, you said, you know what? I really hate this. I should use the term hate. I'm going to be
You
angry.
strongly dislike.
Yes, I want to be angry. I need effects, fires, coming, Ghost Rider. The thing is, they say that is school use digital whiteboard. That is school use Zoom. That is school use iPad. And they think I think it's so naive to think that this is the innovation. This is the change we're talking about. This is just tools. But because the way we are teaching, they are teaching exactly the same as before. Just that paper book turned to PDF, to interactive book. But the teaching approach is the same. Means everybody learns same thing. Everybody learns same biology. You don't have the choice to change the topic. You can learn physics, math more if you want to be game developer. That's a very important thing. Tools, they don't bring the change. Tools, they don't change the mainstream. They just a little bit improvement. My answer is, it's so difficult to go to schools and tell them, hey, stop whatever you're doing today. Tomorrow, do as I say. Okay. First, they say, "What? Why do you think? Have you tested this or not?" And that's right. But it's so easy to get some baby steps toward to adaptive learning, personalized learning systems. And there are countries they have done this, like Estonia, one of my best example. They started since 2011 to make the computer science compulsory course. They started to make it adaptive, they started to make it a little bit personalized. That means you have the choice to change. So it's a really nice thing. Following them, let know what they have done it. So a school, they can start from some kind of baby steps that we can talk about, which is not today's topic, but then gradually they move themselves, because really the big competitor is YouTube, because I can go to YouTube and I learn mathematical concepts from different channels. For example, I'm interested in for example, let's say this kind of trainers. I'm interested with animations. I'm interested in more textual and audio. So there are a lot of tons of options. And I think it's very important to not get fooled by tools and think, okay, if my child has iPad, it means I did the change. I'm happy.
Yeah, and the whole time is just watching like I don't know, Sesame Street nonstop. Yes, I've made my child better. Ha ha.
Yeah, we're happy. Exactly. You're right. That's the way that they feel comfort, because
Yeah.
they don't want to take responsibility. Oh, change the education system. No, I don't want to think about COVID, business, and da da da, and then this. No. So let me put him or her in that school, and then they have digital whiteboards. I'm happy.
Right, for sure. Just to clarify, I have nothing against Sesame Street. It's an amazing show. Okay, since we were on that topic, right? We have a question from our live audience. If technology is there, how come schools are not changing the school system? So we just talked about it very briefly, right?
Yes,
If
yes.
all these resources are there, all the tools are there, and some education systems are using the tools, what is the biggest barrier in preventing them from revitalizing the education system?
I let Mojgan talk about this.
I think maybe the mindset of the parents, and some of the educators, principals, or chairmen of all these communities and societies also are the parents. Then definitely, to me, I think it's the mindset. It's difficult to change the people's mindset to get used to something new. Something that came to my mind is this. I am not sure if or not.
I think it's a really the story is really big. One side is parents, universities, governments, and all these kind of things are connected together. Companies are changing much faster because they are private business and they're not stupid. Business owners, they know that future is freelancing. They know that everything is going on the cloud. So I don't need that degree anymore, like a Microsoft. So business owners are smart enough to not follow that one. But government, degree, university parents, they're supporting each other. I like to give something to you guys. A few weeks ago, a parent in one of the Kiddo Code trial sessions had this concern. And this concern really make me sad. And that back to, I think that's the best way to answer this question, parent mindset. She was worried. She was asking the team that, my child, your approach is online, Kiddo Code. You're doing online and then this and that. I am worried that this put negative impact to the school system, which is really good and required physical book. She was worried that this online approach, which is the future of everybody in the work and the environment, has negative impact on her child toward the book, the physical book. This is painful. Rather than be angry from the school, that rather than teaching your child some digital skills for the future, you worry that what is this? This is scary.
It's like my child is a genius, but I hate him because he doesn't know how to read books.
Exactly. This is coming out of love. That make it worse.
Yeah.
This is the way that you can turn yourself to the biggest enemy of your next generation. This is the concern. Let's drop that book. How long you want to stay to that paper and kill trees and then in environment? Even you can connect it to the environment is. So I don't know. You must be worried your child doesn't lack of digital skills. And the what?
Yeah.
I am not gonna hire such a person, dear parent, if doesn't have digital skills and need book. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. So
how about you, Raj?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think just want to double check. Mojgan, you don't read books, right? Because you're here with us now.
I'm reading ebooks.
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 Oh, very
There we
good.
go.
Ebooks. Ebooks. This is important. Now search books, online contents. These are important. That's good.
Definitely. Great. That's an excellent answer, guys. Okay. So we are running out of time, but I still want to talk about one more topic before we sort of come towards the end of the episode today. We mentioned degrees
Oh,
much earlier in the
oh,
conversation, right? And I graduated from university a few years ago, and I
yes.
still am figuring out how I want to tell my parents that they have spent 120,000 ringgit on nothing, and I've gotten all this value and all this education for free online and with meeting people like the two of y'all and other people in the industry. So I'm still sort of
Collaborative
panicking.
learning.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still sort of figuring out how I want to tell them this. But let's just put this question in a very simple manner. Do you guys think that we will still need a degree in the next, let's say, 5 years? Do you think a degree will still be a necessity in the next 5 to 10 years?
First, ladies.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the point is that if the education system and then the recruitment companies and still wants to stick to the traditional way and they don't want to change their mindset, in some aspects maybe yes, but personally I don't believe in that, because uh, I think, as I mentioned earlier, evaluation is much more precious on practical activities of a person, especially in digital area, in tech area. It means that, for example, maybe you have gone through degree and then you have learned something theoretical, but in practice you are not good at it. Then definitely all the company owners or recruitment services have gone through this experience. That, for example, when you go through the CV of a person, it's very, how to say, it's very impressive, but when we invite them for a very a technical interview, definitely is nothing inside. I mean, degree holders, master holders, but it's just, you need to be stick to more practical approaches of what you're doing. You should sacrifice yourself and empower yourself in the skills that you have chosen to be very good and top on that.
Well,
Is my idea.
interesting. Uh, for me, I do have believing degree, Raj. But there
Okay.
is something very important. If you want to look at degree is still as the only way you get job and get paid, I think you're totally out of the discussion. This is so wrong. The point is this: degree is not anymore the only way to reach to success, happiness, satisfaction, to be effective for people and help the society. Now the world changed. Look at the YouTube, that finally YouTube viewers cross TV viewers. So that's a very important thing. It means like if I do have a way to help people, if I know how to teach mathematics, I want to launch a kind of YouTube channels and reach to 10,000s of people. Being a YouTuber is a real job, is a profitable job. This is stuff never been around before. So that makes sense. You have to get a degree to find a job. And that makes sense. Company also use degree as the only way to evaluate. But now, show me your portfolio. Show me your online activities. So if you refer to the degree as the way that, I think that one I don't believe in that. But degree as one of the good way to gain the skills, still I agree with that. Especially if you want to go to PhD, to master level. If you want to focus on theoretical concepts, you want to be a theoretical physicist. I believe it still is difficult to do it online. But maybe 50 years later, there are more online degrees. But there's something very important. Again, degree itself is different than going to a school physical and book and this. You can go to Coursera, edX, Harvard, and they're all coming to the game. So now in 2021, I want to say 2020, we have a lot of chances. I can be a fantastic person, successful person, rich, if I'm thinking of the income, and knowledgeable without degree or with degree. There are two different and more options. Good news, there are more options. To me, it's very like that. You know what? There's a interview with Elon Musk. He says no, degree doesn't work. It's not important at all. Well, he
Yep.
says a degree is good when you hire people, but when you want to launch a business. So if I need, for example, some PhD people, then I go for the degree in university. If I want some creative thinking, diversity in people, I go for more freelancers. So I mean, don't stick into one um, solution. I think now we have more options.
Definitely. I got a bit emotional when you said that being a YouTuber is a real job. For the first time, I feel like someone truly understands me. But
Yes,
it is, right? It is. That's the thing. And that's something people
it's
don't understand.
honorable, respectful, effective, and important. It's
Of
the
course.
it's the continue of the journalism actually that became like this. Now people they can really broadcast themselves.
Of
Everyone
course.
can
And
fly. Everyone can broadcast. I think if we want to use this slogan.
I love that there's someone out there in the airline industry which is shaking when you said that. But you know, it's true. I agree with you 100%, Uncle Code. You know, because success should not be just determined by how much of money you make. I mean, you can make good money being in the creative industry, of course, but it's a flexibility, the satisfaction, how much of joy you have being in that certain industry. I think that's amazing to have that kind of flexibility. Now we're coming towards the end of the episode. I just have one more question from our audience before I'll pass it back to you, Uncle Ko, to wrap up. So this question is by @Benjamin Vi from Instagram, and he says, over blaming our education system creates a bad excuse for students and parents. Because what happens? The parents call out the education system in front of their kids, then kids will lose respect for the education system. And you know, when was the last time that a parent went to a parents teacher conference to try to solve the situation, right? And now the teachers are stuck in the middle with the intense backlash coming from the bottom, which is the parents and the kids, and not much support from the top, which is the management and the education, whoever who's running the show. So what is a bottom-up solution to this situation? What can we do from our side, the parent side, in order to sort of put a band-aid until a bigger operation can be performed?
So let me take the question in the correct way. You mean like how to build? Is this question trying to say that trust between the school and students is fading, and how to connect it back? Is it focusing on the trust between education system and children?
In a way, the statement says, and through the conversation, we can see that there is a disturbance in the force when it comes to the education system, right?
May the fourth be with you.
Exactly. Happy belated May the 4th.
Yes, yes.
And you know, so there's pressure from both ends. There is some kind of inefficiency from the management or the
Uh-huh.
education department.
Uh-huh.
But then on the flip side, we also have people like you and me and parents and kids who are losing faith in the traditional
Okay.
education system, right?
Okay.
So there's intense pressures from both sides, and the teachers in the middle are feeling the brunt of it, right? So what is a bottoms up solution? That means starting from the parents. What can we as parents do to sort of mitigate the situation?
I got it. Got the question. Interesting. Mujgan is a teacher and education manager and a parent also. Bottom up.
Actually, I think the parents can support the new movement in education. Like, for example, what we have started in Kido Code. Yeah. Believe in self-learning, adaptive learning, and don't limit our kids only to books, to their age. And then, as Uncle Claude mentioned earlier, for example, if a child wants to learn, means step into a topic that it is not real, maybe it's not related to his or her age, don't limit that student, that kid to only, for example, focus on what you should learn now. We just try to nurture their interests and help them. I want to emphasize on adaptive learning system and customized learning system, that it works very well. For my son, during my experience being with Kido Code, and really I'm happy to just support this movement. I just
True.
can, yeah.
I like to. I'm thinking what to say, Raj. It's you know what, when I was doing fundraising for Keto Code, okay, back to 2014, 2015, in my pitch deck, I had a triangle, and I said, I'm focusing on this triangle: students, parent, teacher, and that was my topic of concern. That I was saying that if we believe or we expect change happen, these three pillars are important. And I didn't talk about the government, right? So I just
Mm.
talked about community, collaborative. Now, who owns YouTube? You, everybody. I own YouTube when I watch it, when I contribute comments and like.
Mm.
If I don't do that, that's my fault. Okay, go and contribute to whatever like I do. Algorithms listen to me, but no algorithms, they have this capability to listen to me and do a lot of more things. The new world, like Wikipedia, YouTube's, and many, many more things, became collaborative. My suggestion is this: there are a lot of approaches. I'm not talking about the tools. I think like what we started. Why we are recording this video? Because we want to invite teachers, parents, come to us, come and let's talk about it. If we don't have community, we never ever going to be able to be the one to bring the change in our society. Otherwise, outsider that will come and bring the technology, and same as all that's 100,000 years ago, we just going to be consumer. Suddenly wake up, you see the school system change, and you as a parent just follow. Tomorrow you see a school system became like this and that, you just go and do that. If you want to continue life like that, so, but if we build this community, that means teachers come and join to this community. Teachers come and ask questions. Let's have some, for example, one of the things that I like to do is to have some kind of free of charge activities to train math teachers in Malaysia to learn Python programming language and use it in schools and teach mathematics. So that's a kind of nice way to do that. So they have to contribute, they have to come and then do that. Or parents contribute in these conversations and communications and talk about it and share. Because there is one thing, doesn't matter you believe in me or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is we should talk about it. If we don't talk, is the scary things. But if we argue, we criticize, this become our daily question. How should be education system? How should we? So then we will figure out a way. We will find a way. Otherwise, other people make a decision for us, or we're just going to be extincted. That's maybe a possible solution. So to me,
that escalated quickly.
yeah, you have to do something. You have to take a responsibility to do something. So for me, maybe I can use this as wrap up. Some sort of good questions to wrap up. Really, we're not here to find the solution in this meeting, but we are here to figure out if we can form a community of people that they care about education. If you are a parent, worry of technology. If you're that kind of parent, you're worried of the book, so you should join and talk about it. And then you have to criticize it. And the goal is, I'm not coming here to defend myself or say I'm true or I'm correct. No, I'm here to genuinely to find the truth, and truth coming out of collectively and collaboratively engagement. So that is the way that we can bring some good solutions to the school. There are a lot of educational articles over the internet. There are YouTube channels, Raj, that many people talk about this concern. The school is outdated.
Many.
It's happening already. It's happening. That means sooner or later, all the schools should face. Those they can't will be extincted, like BlackBerry. And I use BlackBerry because it's a modern example. But I was a fan of BlackBerry, and I bowed till the last version. So, but it didn't work. So I hope that we do this. My answer is this. So I really invite you guys to follow us, to join these conversations. We try to do more activities, even like I was thinking, Raj, to have a kind of conversation in the clubhouse and ask people come and ask questions. We answer to them, that kind of things. To do that, I think this is the way, having a platform to have some people with nice ideas, then some people come and invest on those ideas, and then follow that one. I think that's a very civilized solution.
Definitely. Clubhouse, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. In fact, once all of us have neural links attached, we can have a jump-in conversation whenever we want. But
make
definitely.
this trend. This should be a trend. Hashtag, a trend that what we should do for that. And people should talk about it. Like how people talk about Earth Day or environment. We have to build, I think this required social wave. rather than only technology is a tool, but the demand should be there. We have to be in a point as a parent to say, okay, it's time to stop this 200 years legacy education system. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Raj. That was a good day. Nice, really nice, really nice.
Nice. Thanks,
And
guys.
Ojban, thank you so much.
No problem.
Anything
Thank
to
you
add
for
at the
having.
end?
Actually, thank you for having me today. And yes, then stay safe. And nothing to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And you, dear followers, I hope you enjoyed. And please share with us and your questions and also argue with us.
Yes, we like fighting. We like arguing with people. When it comes to education, we like having a very intense discussion about it.
There's no any self in there. It's education. Education. Yeah. Okay, Raj.
I'll see you in the next episode,
Nice
Uncle
to
Cole.
see you.